more you know, I think, benefits people, the more knowledge and information they have to make good decisions. So in my effort to make you know more, I just want to give you points 41 and 42. Let me start by saying this, that we are not the only legislative body, whether it's a state, a local, or even congressional, that faces tough issues. Everybody does it all the time. But once in a generation, or maybe once in a lifetime, we face a decision so controversial that will make a difference in the future of our country. And today, we have the honor to resolve that issue that faces what our future may be in the United States of America. Presidents aren't immune for this type of thing either, and they get a lot of heat. But at the end, they do what is right for their country. Abraham Lincoln, on his issuance of the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, that decision to do that was incredibly controversial in the North. In the North, not just in the South. While it energized abolitionists, many white Northerns feared an influx of freed people, and some Union soldiers and war Democrats abandoned the cause over that issue. Lincoln faced immense political pressure and criticism, but believed it was important and necessary as a war measure to undermine the Confederacy and put this nation on a pace to abolish slavery, which ultimately redefined the war's moral purpose. And he saved the Union. He also gave his life. Harry Truman. Courage is not restricted to one party, one Republican or Democrat. Courage is not even restricted to male or female, or young or old. And Harry Truman demonstrated courage when he desegregated the armed forces in 1948. President Truman faced a political risky decision in 1948 when he issued Executive Order 9981, abolishing racial segregation in the U.S. Armed Forces. This move was met with significant resistance from Southern Democrats who threatened to walk out on the Democrat convention and from their own party, potentially costing Truman the election. Many in the military and general public held bigoted views and swore they would never serve alongside our Black American heroes. Despite the political and social backlash, Truman prioritized civil rights and equality, a decision now seen as a crucial step in the broader civil rights movement and a moral imperative for this nation to do the right thing at the right time for our country. Our founding fathers, according to John F. Kennedy in his book, Profiles in Courage, said this about the Senate. And I thought this might be appropriate because we are the Senate. And he said the founding fathers could not have envisioned service in the Senate as providing an opportunity for political courage, whereby men would endanger or end their careers by resisting the will of the constituents. He never thought it would be possible for us to have these questions. But he said, for the very concept of the Senate, in contrast to the House, was a body which would not be subject to constituent pressures. And yet, we are. He thought we should have courage to do what's right. A president who gave his life for his country. But there are also people with courage that served in the Indiana General Assembly. I would never put myself in one of those positions because the loss of what some of these people felt or found out to happen to them is far more things that could ever happen to me. It could, but they had the courage to do it. In 1992 and 1994, I ran our House campaign races, and we went from 42 members up to 56. I can tell you, nobody on your side in the House was endeared with me. And every time I would go to the mic thereafter, I would get booed and hissed. And one time I brought in the football team for Ben Davis for winning the state championship. And They booed and hissed me. And I remember the coach turned to me and says, I don't think they like you. I said, I know, I do my job. And so, but that's not even courage. What was courage was this. In order to get control of the House of Representatives, I had to have a different strategy. And we went after the 7 weakest Democrats that we knew of, where we thought we could beat. And those members that won, their names should live for eternity. John Kimmel, David Lohr, Cleo Duncan, Sally Lambert, who beat the Speaker of the House of Representatives, John Patfield, Irene Huffley, and Marty Womack. 7 individuals with more courage than I think I could have ever mustered. We had some important bills as we got control of the House again. Things like this: common wage. The unions hated my guts. I was the author of that bill. And one day, when thousands of big, burly union guys exercising their freedom of speech and assembly came to the State House, they had a baseball card that was produced by Ball State. You know whose picture was on that Ball State baseball card? It was mine. You know who these people were looking for? It was me. Did that deter me to do what was right for my state? No, it didn't. I did try to sneak out of the building incognito, but I didn't give up the cause that I had because it was more important. And that wasn't the only big bill we had. We had tort reform. We had a bill that, I was the chairman of the Labor Committee, no more forced union dues to the ISTA. And we also sped up the death penalty. And there were 6 other bills that was in our package. But these bills, these were the most controversial, these 4. And Vanita was there, and I don't know if Jim got in there. Jim was there, Senator Buck. And you know what? We had 56 members, but we never had the same 51 members. They were always different, but we always got 51 to do the right thing for our state and for our future. Because 7 people with courage decided it was more important for them personally to do the right thing than to be here. And I remember going to him and asking him this, telling him this. I said, I want you to know, you're from Democrat districts. These issues are not going to be favorable to you, that they go against everything that your district represents. And the constituents were telling him no. These 7 individuals gave their votes and their seats to do the right thing for our state and our future. John Kimmel and Dave Lohr came from Terre Haute. They did their job admirably and honorably. They knew that they would never be back and told me so. They both lost, but our state still won, and those laws we passed still exist. Sally Lambert, who beat the Speaker, she knew it was over for her, but she thought more of her state and doing the right thing than being in that office, and she lost. But what she did that day still lives. John Patfield won, along with Cleo Duncan. The only 2 of those people that didn't lose their seats. And 2 from Indianapolis, downtown Indianapolis, Irene Huffley and Marty Womack. They knew what the danger was if they did this. And they weighed, do I want to be a legislator or do I want to do the right thing? You know what they chose? To do the right thing. And they may have been hurt when they lost, but their hearts weren't sad because they had courage to do what was right. And so I just want to tell you this, and I can't sing, and I'm not going to do so now. I'm not a person that writes good poems, but I did talk to you about this one issue already. I don't want to wake up the morning after the election in November and find out we lost the House of Representatives by 1 vote. If I knew that I did that, I would feel horrible. The Speaker said, and we all know this, that our technology and the ability to draw districts are so good, we can make any district impenetrable if we choose to do it. The speaker said, based on what we have today, their political people tell them it's likely on election day that they will either be down one seat in the minority or up one seat. If Indiana comes along, they would be up one seat or up 3 seats. I don't know. I can't see the future. I'm not that great. Maybe his assessment's wrong, but I do know the technology exists because I drew the maps in 2011 with a couple other of my friends. I know how good they are. I know what we can do. I know how strong we could make a district. Only a handful of districts throughout the United States will determine who controls Congress. And we may or may not do our part today to keep our nation in the hands of Republicans and to do the right things for our state. And I only say that because of this. Whether we choose to play in the game or we choose to play not in the game will determine the history and future of our state. Whether we do it or not, Virginia just elected a Democrat governor, and they've already taken the first step of 3 to eliminate 5 of our members. 5. 5 of our guys will be gone. Utah, a federal judge, took away one from the Republicans and gave him to the Democrat. Well, there's 6. I don't know how it's going to be decided. I have no idea. I know this election is going to be very close. And so, since I talked to you about the morning after, I'm going to read you just 2 stanzas and then I'm done. The morning after. There's got to be a morning after. If we can hold on through this fight, we have a chance to find the sunshine. Let's keep on looking for what is right. Oh, can't you see the morning after? It's waiting right outside the storm. Why don't we cross the political divide together and find our country safe and unharmed? It's not too late, and we're still striving. Let's find a way to serve our nation. It's not too late. Not while we're still serving. Let's put our hands together to save our nation. May God bless this body, our people, this state, and the greatest country in the world.
Thank you, Senator. Point of personal privilege.